Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the Honorable Sherryl Newman, Director at Link Strategic Partners and former Secretary of the District of Columbia.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here today and to give opening remarks for this panel of accomplished women. My mother taught me that a woman can do things twice as good and work twice as hard as a man, but still only get half as far. And even if you get as far as a man, your wages will be less. I'm sure some of you have heard this before. And this is still true today because there is gender bias and a wage gap that creates barriers to success for women, and even more so for women of color. There's always been a need for women to participate in the workforce. For example, in World War II, women were the backbone of our domestic economy in production and manufacturing. As a result, women held our country together and kept our economy going and supported the troops while they were in combat. But not surprisingly, when the war ended, so did a woman's place in the economy. Women were returned to domestic roles and positions as support staff. History has demonstrated that much like during the war, women have made enormous contributions in every aspect of society, including education, science, business, politics, and even space travel. Yet while women were and are applauded, they are not supported equally or fairly. Let me share a few unfortunate statistics to illustrate this inequity. According to the Department of Labor, women currently make up over 48% of the workforce, and yet only hold 27% of the C-suite positions. That same study shows that 42% of women say they've been discriminated at work because of their gender, and 55% of women in senior leadership roles say they have experienced sexual harassment. On the Fortune 500 list, only 33 women lead these organizations. That is a paltry 6%. 6%. And while the pay gap has improved over the past few decades, women still only make 82 cents compared to the $1 men are paid. And these numbers are even more dismal for Black women, something I know a little about. A Department of Labor study from 2020 showed that Black women are the largest group in the labor force compared to other women. And the earnings for Black women is doubly painful, as Black women earn 63 cents to 70 cents to the $1 that men are paid. But worse, Black women only make 64 cents compared to 79 cents for white women doing the same job. So even the same gender, being Black is a barrier, but that's a topic for another day. So many ask, what is the issue? You've come a long way, baby. And they're not wrong. Women have come a long way. We have a woman as Vice President of the United States, a woman of color, education, and esteem who's broken through the barriers all of her life and ascended to the highest position in this country. We have women who are CEOs, CFOs, COOs, and presidents running small and large companies, and they make a difference. We have women in seats of power in the government, mayors, governors, senators, congresswomen, Supreme Court justices, and in a little while, we're about to have the first Black woman justice in our history. These women are changing the face of our country by leading by example and paving the way for much needed change. But while we've made strides, we continue to experience the barriers daily. In my career, I've held many positions that were outside of the norm for me as a woman and a woman of color. These positions often placed me in rooms with all men, which forced me to lean into my culture and my gender to enlighten and educate them on the way the real world thinks. And those moments were learning moments for me as well, because I was exposed to positive and negative reactions that shaped my perspective and even my goals. Now, I don't know about you, but nothing motivates me more than being underestimated. Today, I am the Director of Community Engagement for Link Strategic Partners, headquartered in Washington, D.C. We are a social impact, communications, and organizational assessment firm. One of our practice areas is diversity, equity, and inclusion, but we add belonging to this space. Why? Because as we unpack the areas where there is bias and a lack of diversity and equity, we must look at and identify the sense of belonging in an organization and how that impacts each person's journey. In a few minutes, you will hear from 4 women whose journeys represent extraordinary accomplishments which should be applauded. They've all managed to succeed and break barriers in their respective fields. This is a good start, but so much more work has to be done. Look, we know the statistics, we live the realities, and we strive daily to break the barriers, and we continue to fight for our seat at the table. I still tell young girls the story of working hard in a male-dominated society. But now the story is about strength, hope, and the knowledge that their hard work will pay off and they will be recognized. I tell them, do not give up, do not give in. We will get there. Thank you.